Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at the Blink security system. These are surveillance cameras that don't cost all that much money, and there's no monthly fee attached to their services either. It's very simple and inexpensive, and that is always what I like to look for in anything on this channel. So we're going to be taking a closer look at this and how it works here in just a second. Now, I do want to mention, in the interest of full disclosure, this came in free of charge from Blink. However, all the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, and no one is reviewing this content before it is posted. A viewer suggested we check this out, so I reached out to them, and actually, spoiler alert, I kind of like it, and I'm going to be buying a few more cameras for around my house. Let's take a look now and see how it works. So let's take a closer look at the hardware now. There isn't much to this, actually. It's pretty simple to get up and running. You've got these camera modules that cost about $75 each, and then you have the sync module here that costs about $50. You can buy these two things together as a kit for 99 bucks. They also have a 5-camera kit with a sync module for about $350. So you get a lot of cameras for not a lot of money under that scenario, and it's not all that expensive to add more. Each of these sync modules supports 10 cameras, and you can buy additional sync modules, of course, for 50 bucks, and then you can add 10 more to that, and you can have multiple sync modules paired up with your account. It does work strictly over a mobile phone. I'll show you how it works in a minute when we go through the app. Very simple to set up and get up and running. I didn't have any issues at all. This connects up to your Wi-Fi. It does have an Ethernet port, but it's not being used at the time that I'm recording this video, so it does depend on Wi-Fi. The cameras communicate with the sync module wirelessly, but they also connect to Wi-Fi on their own, and I believe it has to have a connection to both. And you'll see in the app they give you an idea as to what your signal strength is, so you might have to adjust where this thing sits to get the best possible connection depending on how many cameras you plan on using. The camera shoots 720p video, so not the highest definition out there. It's also not the best quality video, but it's good enough to know that something's going on in your house, and I think good enough probably to identify a person. They also record sound when they are fired off.
Oh, you caught me.
You will not be able to record continuously, although you can log into the camera remotely and get a live view or snap a picture. Now, these are built for indoor usage. I did actually put it outside last night, and it actually rained last night. It was under my deck, so it got a little damp, but no issues. And they've said some people actually put them in vestibules and other places, but this is not rated as a waterproof camera. They actually are just coming out in the next couple of weeks with a outdoor night vision camera that I will be doing a follow-up video with that I've already ordered. So we'll check that out when it comes out. So instead of night vision, what it does is it has an illuminator here that's actually pretty bright. It's an LED light, and then the sensor switches down into a low light mode, which means that it can see everything, at least inside of a room, but it's going to have a lot of motion blur because the shutter speed on the sensor gets reduced dramatically. So I'm really eager to see how that outdoor camera does, which has true night vision versus a more highly sensitive sensor on this one. But if there is an intruder, they will see that bright light. They'll also see the little blue light up here to let them know it's recording. They put that in as a security feature. They said it's hardware locked to the device, so if it is recording something, that light will always turn on. So just be aware of that. It won't be completely inconspicuous that it's doing something when somebody trips it out. Now, the server where all this stuff is stored will store about 7,200 seconds of video. It's about 2 hours of video. They record very short snippets as things happen. I'll show you how to adjust that in a few minutes. So you should be able to store most of what happens on this camera, and then as the new stuff comes in and you filled up that 7,200 second bucket, the older videos get deleted, but it's very easy to move the video off the app onto your phone for permanent storage. So I'm not too concerned about the limited amount of storage they give you. I think it's adequate for what they have here. Now, the big claim to fame with this is battery life, and the way these things work, at least on the camera side, is that they're run on 2 AA batteries. Now, they recommend using lithium batteries, which are not rechargeable, but they're a little more reliable for this kind of usage. And you need batteries that can output 1.5 volts reliably, which is why they recommend doing the lithium batteries and not alkalines, because the voltage tends to change depending on the quality of the battery sometimes. Rechargeable batteries like I use, the nickel metal hydride batteries, do not supply enough voltage to make this work reliably enough or at all. So they really recommend using those lithium batteries only. They said you can get about 2 years out of it. I'll show you the settings that they put in to get there. So you might see different battery life depending on how often the camera is tripped and a whole bunch of other factors as well. So there are certain things that will lead you to a 2-year battery life under ideal conditions, although for most people it might be maybe more about the length of your smoke detector batteries, but we'll take a look and see how that works. Now, as an alternative though, you could plug it into USB power and you would have the ability to have this thing run continuously. And for the indoor camera, that is probably easy to do. You've got a little stand here. You can maybe put it on a nightstand somewhere and just have a USB cable going to it to keep it running all the time. They do not give you the USB cable in the box with the camera, but those are easy enough to find these days. All right, so let's take a look now at the app, and you can see that you've got right now both of our cameras available to us. My studio camera, which is the one I'm looking at right now, in that still photo at least, and then the front door. So what you can do is take a still photo anytime you want. So I can hit the button here and take a picture. What you'll see is that light will light up here on the camera to indicate that something's being recorded. Very quickly goes off, and if we go back to the app now, you can see it updated that thumbnail. Likewise, I could tap on the little camera icon there on the corner, and I can go out and take a look at what's going on my front door right now, live and in real time, and I can do this anywhere in the world. So there is a way to do a real-time live monitoring from the camera, although I'm sure that will impact your long-range battery life. You'll also get sound out of it when you do that. To exit, you just back out, but remember, you can't record there. Now, this works a lot like an alarm system would, so you can see at the bottom there it says armed. So right now, if something were to walk up to my front door, I'll get an alert and it'll record a video. But what's nice is that you can actually control the cameras individually. So right now in the studio, you can see that little running icon is grayed out. If I tap on it, it will turn on, and now the motion detection will activate, and now the camera, if it detects any motion, will start recording. And you can see now that I waved my hand in front of it, the light went on, and we'll have a video pushed back to the phone here momentarily with an alert. So that's how it works. Basically, if it detects motion, it will let you know and send you an alert, and then also direct you to the recording that will pop up into your little list here of things that it detected. So sometimes that comes down right away. Other times it takes a little bit of time, but here you go. We got the alert from the app here, and you can go in and see that I was waving my hand in front of the camera. So it is pretty quick and responsive. And I found too, because I reviewed the Ring doorbell recently, that oftentimes the Ring doorbell would capture the person after they had walked away from the door. This one seems pretty quick. So once it gets that motion going, it is recording, and you get a notification and actually see what happened, which was really nice to see on here. Let's go into the configuration of the camera now. So I'll tap on the gear icon next to the studio camera here, and that will pop open the configuration screen. I can change the name of it. It gives me the battery indicator as to how the battery is doing. I think it'll give you some kind of notification when the battery is running low. It also keeps a log of temperature in the room, so I can actually get an alert. Like if I'm concerned that my room might be burning down or something, I can say, hey, if it gets hotter than 90 degrees, send me an alert. Likewise, it'll also be on the lookout for cold temperatures as well. So if you're worried about your pipes freezing or something, if it gets down below, it looks like the max here is 40 degrees, it will then send me an alert about that. So I was really quite pleased to see that it has a little bit more than just a camera to it. So that was cool. Wait for it to catch up and update the camera here. Right now, motion detection is disabled because we turned off that icon, but I could turn it back on again. Now, retrigger time is how long it waits before it starts another recording. So right now, it's going to wait 30 seconds before it does another recording. So if you are only setting this thing to like a 5-second recording, it's going to record 5 seconds, rest for 30 seconds. Then if it still detects motion, it's going to turn itself back on and record another 5 seconds. You can adjust the length here by adjusting the clip length slider there. So your maximum is a minute at a time, but you can also reduce the retrigger time down to 10 seconds, and you can also adjust the motion sensitivity there. This is one of the ways that they are able to get better battery life out of this device, is those really short 5-second clips. So if you want longer clips, it will eat up more battery life in the long run, but if you're okay with that, that's what it'll do. I haven't yet figured out exactly what the time impact is on the battery for adjusting these things, but you have the ability to make it do what you need there. The illuminator is that light that I mentioned, so you can have it not come out at all. So if you don't want the intruder to see that light go on, you won't see it turn on. But if it doesn't turn on, you won't be able to see anything in a dark room with this indoor model of the camera. But you can adjust the intensity of it if you want. Audio is self-explanatory there. Then at the bottom, you can see the signal strength going from the camera back to Wi-Fi, as well as the sync module. Now, I found the motion detection to work quite well as an indoor camera. Generally, you want to be very sensitive indoors, and when the system is armed, I'm sure they're assuming that any motion is motion that you want to see. So I didn't have any false alarms last night. In fact, I got a bunch of them in the morning because I had stuck the camera outside to see how it would work outdoors, and look what it caught outside. And so all the motion it picked up was that little mouse running around last night. So it was working quite well in that regard. But today, out on the front door where I put the other one that I have, have, it hasn't been working as well in the sense that it's getting a lot of wind triggering its motion sensors out there. So I'm hoping that the outdoor camera is a little better tuned for outdoor motion. In other words, kind of filtering out the trees swaying and that sort of thing. Because right now you can't set motion zones up on this to exclude certain areas that are prone to move more. So I'm hoping that what I'm seeing here with the indoor camera, at least insofar as how it's working out of my front door, is not something we'll see moving forward. So this is what set it off earlier, just some trees rustling around and that sort of thing. So we'll see, but we'll do a further update video when that outdoor camera comes out. Now, there really isn't much of an automated way to arm the system. You have to usually enable it manually through the app. There is some scheduling built in, though, so you can go into the app here, pull down the menu, go over to scheduling, and set it up to always arm itself, for example, during the hours that you might be at work. So if you forget to do it, at least the schedule will do it for you. It is supporting Amazon Alexa right now, so you could use the Alexa to say, hey, tell the Blink system to arm itself. So there is some voice commands if you have an Alexa in your house. It also works with IFTTT, if this, then that, which adds a lot of functionality to the device. So let's take a look and see what you can do on there. Now, if you haven't heard of IFTTT.com before, definitely check it out. You can do a lot of cool stuff on here. They kind of act as connective tissue between different apps, and you can see some examples here on their homepage. So, for example, you can have all of your Facebook photos that you're tagged in automatically back up to your iPhone, for example, or maybe if the weather gets really hot outside, you can have it automatically turn on a compatible thermostat to make sure your air conditioner comes on by the time you get home. A lot of cool stuff that you can link up here with IFTTT, and you can spend hours doing all this kind of stuff. And so the Blink works with it. So there are two actions that you can have taken here. So for example, I could set the IFTTT app on my phone to trigger the Blink to arm itself every time I drive away from my house. So that might be one way you could automate getting this thing to arm itself when you leave. And likewise, when you come back, you can have it disarm the system automatically for you. And in the process, you could also maybe have it put a note in a spreadsheet every time you leave the house. You can keep a log of your coming and going, for example. That might be helpful in some lawsuit or something, I don't know, or maybe not helpful. You can also have triggers here. So when the Blink goes off, you can have it do things. So for example, if my Blink goes off, I can maybe have it have every smart light bulb in the house turn on whenever it detects any kind of motion in the house. There's a lot of different things that you can use with IFTTT to make all of that happen. So lots of cool stuff. You can see some examples that they have set up here. So you could, for example, tweet a hashtag to disarm your Blink system. I probably wouldn't recommend doing that, but you can keep a spreadsheet log of every motion alert. It'll tell you which camera did that in the spreadsheet. I even set up the IFTTT app on my watch so I could arm and disarm the system with a button push from my watch without having to go to my phone and load up the app and everything. So lots of cool stuff that you can do with it, and definitely worth playing with. And I have to say, overall, I am quite impressed with this system because it's very inexpensive. It doesn't cost all that much to get in the door. The monthly fee is non-existent, so you can get a usable security system that doesn't start dinging you for a monthly fee down the road. One of my gripes with the Ring doorbell was that you had a really good 30-day experience with it, and then after the 30 days ended, all of the usefulness of the product, namely the video storage, went away unless you paid a per camera fee for the storage. And once you started adding a lot of cameras, it could get really expensive to have all of that. This thing, it doesn't matter how many cameras you have, they'll store 2 hours of video free of charge. I think what they're looking at doing down the road is putting together a system where they will do monitoring of your home like an alarm company would. So if you have somebody break into the house, they'll load up your cameras. You have to trust them to look inside your house, I guess, but determine if there's something going on and maybe call the police or fire department on your behalf. So I think that's where they're going on the monetization side with this. But if you don't want that service, you can just have it run that way. Now, of course, the future of this product depends on the future of the company. So if the company ever goes out of business, this becomes useless because right now it doesn't do any local storage. But at the moment, I think it's probably the most affordable and probably simplest system to get up and running. Again, $350, you can buy 5 of these cameras plus the sync module, or just get these 2 pieces here to get started for $99 and add them as you go. So we'll be coming back to this with the outdoor camera when it comes out, and we'll see how well that one works versus the indoor cameras insofar as motion events are concerned. And I think we'll be doing a lot more with this because I really like what they've done with this, and very affordable too. This is Lon.TV, and thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporters Mark Bollinger, Brian Miller, Mr. Morse, and Cody Falk. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.